even this short-term deal haven't yet arrived anywhere. They can't agree. Time is running against Greece because the European Central Bank has effectively freezed liquidity for Greek banks under technical excuses already early in February. And the Greek economy is being strangled. This brings us to the inescapable conclusion that the prolonged duration of these negotiations, it's been more than 3 months now, is something absolutely intended. It's not an accident. I don't believe it's an accident. Nor we can blame it on the Greek government. In fact, Alexis Tsipras said very clearly in an interview this week that the only reasons we don't have a deal yet is because the institutions insist on things like deeper cuts in pensions, an increase in the value-added tax, a regressive tax, forgetting the planned ban on foreclosures. They want huge budget surpluses and the rest of it. So this stall by itself is an attempt by the lender institutions to strangle the Greek economy and thus blackmail the Greek government to make concessions. The clear picture is that they don't want to have an agreement. They want to have the Greek government surrender to austerity policies. And we're not talking about reversal of austerity here. For starters, we're talking avoiding even deeper austerity. Now, there are two important things that need to be stressed regarding the goals of the lender institutions in this process of negotiations. Number one, their only goal is to humiliate the Greek government politically and continue imposing the same policy as if elections were never held. And number two, in order to do that, they are trying to get rid of Varoufakis. Varoufakis is a very annoying opponent to have because he's extremely qualified and understands the economics better than almost anyone of his colleagues in the Eurogroup of finance ministers. And he's more people-friendly than they can tolerate, more of a populist, if you like.
Right.
After the Eurogroup in Riga, Latvia, in which Varoufakis was impudently, let me say, bullied by the other Euro area finance minister, he tweeted the famous phrase by Franklin Roosevelt from his 1936 re-election campaign: "They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred."
It's actually the forces of organized money are unanimous in their hatred, and I welcome their hatred. I also noticed that, I think I mentioned last week, the Italian edition of Huffington Post, the whole front page was completely a diatribe against Varoufakis. They were playing with him as some kind of a jet-set glamour boy, but then it turns out that he's more serious, and now they've all turned against him. They're all screaming that Varoufakis must go. So he must be doing something right.
Yes, of course. You may have heard something like Varoufakis is out of the picture also.
Right,
and
that Tsipras has taken over.
Yes, let me say that's not true. It's pure propaganda. Prime Minister Tsipras made internal changes having to do with the coordination of the negotiating team, and that's it. Varoufakis is still in charge of negotiating policy, and by all means still a finance minister. So why do they hate him so much? I need to say something, maybe not as important for international affairs, because after all, we're talking about Greece, a small, insignificant economy. But this may increase the morale of common people disillusioned with politics. I was standing here yesterday in Athens, Greece, listening to my government's finance minister talking about the need to outlaw naked credit default swaps. Specifically, addressing the parliament, he said, the lender institutions are telling us about the moral hazard of stopping foreclosures, because then even those who have the ability to service their mortgages will have the incentive to stop paying because they will be immune to foreclosure. And they don't care about people being thrown out of their homes. Why, instead, are we not talking about the moral hazard of naked credit default swaps? And
absolutely, and on an institutional basis, you can ask Schäuble about this, because Schäuble banned them temporarily in Germany in the summer of 2010. That's the so-called Leerverkäufer right?
Yes.
Naked credit default swaps.
He said that naked credit default swaps are essentially like someone being able to get fire insurance against his neighbor's house, giving him an incentive to want to see his neighbor's house burned. He said, we need to ban this kind of instruments internationally, but we can start by banning them in Europe. And for now, we will seriously consider banning them in Greece symbolically to make the issue public. He also said, and that's the start, because credit default swaps are one of the least toxic derivatives out there. He said that in Parliament. So I hope people can feel that politics is not a dead end. We shouldn't be nihilists. And I hope they can also see why Varoufakis is personally being attacked by elites and puppet politicians. And also maybe why he was cowardly attacked by anarchists while dining with his wife in that restaurant in downtown Athens. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No, we need the details. What happened?
Some anarchists went into the restaurant and threw things against the wall. The goal of this attack was to provoke him to call the police, I think, which would then lead to the usual clashes between anarchists and the police, making this a news item worldwide, humiliate and pressure the Greek government. Or create an atmosphere that the Greek government is unpopular in some way. Now, one last thing I would like to add is that, as we learned yesterday, this is breaking news, the Supreme Administrative Court of Greece has ruled that cuts in pensions are unconstitutional.
Good. Excellent. All right, Michael, that's a very interesting report. We'll see you again next week on Gold Prices Radio. Back in a minute.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized money from your bank account, you need to get professional tax help now. Fast action is required to put a halt to these aggressive IRS collection tactics. You can count on the knowledgeable team of tax professionals at Wall & Associates. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has settled the tax problems of thousands of taxpayers for a small fraction of what they owed. For a free face-to-face consultation, call 1-800-425-4610 to put a wall between you and the IRS. 1-800-425-4610 or look for us on the web at wallandassociates.net. We solve tax problems. If you hire Wall & Associates today, you'll never have to talk to the IRS again. To stop the levies and seizures today, take action now. Call Wall & Associates at 1-800-425-4610. Wall & Associates. 1-800-425-4610. Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services.
Did you know that drinking pure, high alkaline water is one of the most important factors in maintaining high energy and vibrant health? Most experts agree that the water you drink should be at a pH level of 8 or higher. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops, available only at alkavision.com, combine a unique formula of only the most alkaline minerals. AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops alkalize your water, ridding the body of harmful toxins, and helps you regain health and energy. Alkalizing your water by simply adding 10 drops of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops helps the body rid itself of acidic waste, increases oxygen content, and raises the pH of your body to healthy levels. And bacteria and viruses cannot survive in an alkaline high pH environment. Order your bottle of AlkaVision Plasma pH Drops for only $29.95 at alkavision.com. That's ALKAvision.com. Or call 269-409-1776. 269-409-1776. Alkalize your body. Supercharge your health at alkavision.com today.
By now, you may have heard a bit about Bitcoins, but did you know Bitcoins are now over an $8.5 billion market? And did you know that over 65,000 businesses now accept Bitcoins? Listen, if you're already earning Bitcoins or trying to make money in the Bitcoin market, you've got to know bidbit.co. Why? Because bidbit.co is where you can easily receive Bitcoins by selling and auctioning off your own personal items or promote business products and services for Bitcoins. You heard right. Whether personal or business, you can now buy, sell, and auction your products and services quickly, easily, and securely for Bitcoin at bidbit.co, the first and only marketplace website to offer BidBit Escrow, a proprietary technology which gives buyers and sellers security and peace of mind because all transactions are protected. Start today. It's free to join, free to post, free to auction, and free to bid at bidbit.co. Buy, sell, bid, or auction everything Bitcoin. That's www.bidbit.co. Bidbit.co.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99 and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows. Pause and rewind live TV. Even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MY-TV. 1-855-905-MY-TV.
Great minds think alike. The network for the independent-minded. The Genesis Communications Network. GC.
World Crisis Radio. This is Webster Tarpley reporting once again from Washington, D.C. Now, we are joined by a very distinguished and highly interesting guest, and that is Stanislav Bishok of Moscow. And I just have to briefly say how I got to know Stanislav Bishok. During that Europa Objektiv tour of the Donetsk areas, they had a day of very interesting briefings and discussions set up in Moscow at the building which houses the Civic Forum, the Civic Chamber of the Russian Federation. And one of the speakers that had been invited was Stanislav Bishok, along with his colleague, Alexei Kochetov, and they are authors of what I think is one of the most important books in the world at this point, and that is called Neo-Nazis and Euromaidan, From Democracy to Dictatorship. And this is a study of this tremendous problem which threatens every person in the world, and that is Ukrainian fascism. The fascism and neo-Nazism which has taken over Kiev and that army and their militia forces, their Freikorps. Let me just say a couple of more words about Stanislav Bishok. He is a psychologist. In other words, he can approach these questions from, I think, one of the most important angles. How do these people think? Why do they do what they do? He's a writer, graduate of Moscow State University. He's a political analyst currently working for the International Election Monitoring Organization, EMO, of the Commonwealth of Independent States, which is the group that was formed then among the countries which had been part of the Soviet Union. And he's author, this is actually his second book on this complex. He's got an earlier book also on the threat to democracy in Ukraine, from democracy to dictatorship. So Stanislav Bishok, welcome. We're delighted to have you. And maybe you start by telling us, just giving us the general thesis of your book, Neo-Nazis and Euromaidan.
Yeah. Hi, America. It's a pleasure to be here with you and at the same time here in Moscow. Yes, you know, the subtitle of my book, of our book, From Democracy to Dictatorship, you know, it's a reverse of the well-known book by Gene Sharp called From called from dictatorship to democracy, because the thing is the thing we have seen in Ukraine through the past year and a half is this it's this turmoil which brought much more dictatorial, much more brutal forces than that had been ruling Ukraine before them. So it's the paradox, let's say so, that this coup led eventually